والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. Take the chapter from Bulugh-Al-Maram, باب الزهد والورع. باب الزهد والورع, inshallah we'll be studying it. So the Zuhud Waraa, which is Zuhud, abstinence, and al-Wara, he explained by piety. However, in the book he said, what is the Zuhud? The Zuhud. The Zuhud usually abstinence, renunciation to the glittering of the worldly life, and focusing on the nearness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So not to be deluded by the worldly life, and that is one of the main aspects of the zuhd. So he is saying, قال قلة الرغبة في الشيء. قلة الرغبة. One of the definition of the zuhd is قلة الرغبة في الشيء. To not have, to not be excited to, or have someone, to be excited to get new things, and not to be really, driven to have like raghba. Raghba is like a desire in getting things, toys and so on. So the zuhd is قلة الرغبة, abstinence, renunciation of such a thing. وإن شئت قلت الرغبة عنه, if you want to say الرغبة عنه. So this is the definition of some of the scholars. هنا الإمام الصنعاني رحمة الله عليه given the definition from his book سبل السلام, which is actually the sharh of Bulugh-Al-Maram. فقال وإن شئت الرغبة عنه. الرغبة to turn away from it. Turn away. There is a lot of things that someone can buy, but are they going to help you? Maybe you don't need it, and truly you don't need it. So that's the spirit of the zuhd. وفي اصطلاح أهل الحقيقة, and in the terminology of أهل الحقيقة, أهل الحقيقة هو أهل المعرفة. أهل المعرفة or أهل الحقيقة, they're also known by the Sufi path, that these people are like, people very well, highly and well rooted into the way of the deen. قال وفي اصطلاح أهل الحقيقة بغض الدنيا والإعراض عنها. So according to the Arifin and al-mutahaqiqu, the people who are on the path of the ihsan, let's say on the path of the ihsan, they say az-zuhdu is قال بغض الدنيا. بغض الدنيا is to dislike and hate this worldly life. وَالْإِعْرَاضُ عَنْهَا, and to turn away from it. Why? Because all the traps, all the problems are in this worldly life. Very short, a lot of issues. The provision is always one need to have it, subhanallah, ready, but always, someone losing his provision. The more they accumulate, the more, subhanallah, the shortcoming is eating this provision. The true provision to help you survive in this life is piety. When people, they make it money, other people, they make it power, other people, they make it desire. So, bughd al-dunya, to hate the dunya, is the dunya that delude you, the dunya that tempt you, the dunya that mislead you, the dunya that push you away from the path of Allah. That's what you need to hate and to have hatred towards. Why? Because that type of dunya is taking you to the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. However, the dunya that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you from tayyibat, from the halal, give you the dunya, your family, your children, your friends, the gathering of part of the dunya, when you have a joyful thing that Allah made it lawful for you, that's all, it's halal, and it is something Allah made it, created for you to enjoy it. Now we're talking about the dunya that mislead you, that part, that when it gets into the heart of a person, it will destroy it. وقيل ترك راحة الدنيا لراحة الآخرة. Some of the people, they say to turn away from the, let's say, ar-raha, which is to find like peace, or more like to be like to have a tranquility, to be rested, in this dunya. Instead, target the one of the akhirah, because the one who feel peaceful here and he's been pleased with this dunya and feel satisfied, he is indeed he forgot the true life, which is the akhirah. وقيل ترك نعيم الدنيا وشهواتها لنعيم الآخرة ولذاتها وقيل أن يخلو قلبك مما خلت منه يداك. This is maybe one of the profound also definition of zuhd, to empty your heart from anything that you don't have. To empty your heart. If you don't have money, don't fill your heart with the money when you don't have it. But in reality, to not have anything get to your heart from this dunya. Because when it gets to the heart, you become a prisoner and slave to it. As long as it's in your hand, then you use it in the way that pleases Allah, the way of to satisfy your need. But you get it in your heart, the person is going to become greedy, is going to become like envious person, and so on. وأخرج الترمذي وابن ماجه. So this is the first hadith in الزهد والورع. قال الزهادة في الدنيا ليست بتحريم الحلال ولا إضاعة المال. And أبي ذر رحمه الله تعالى قال الزهادة في الدنيا, to be zahid in the dunya, is not to make the halal haram and to waste the money, or to say, no, I don't want money, I don't want to gain money. That's not the zuhd. Or to make everything halal, you say, no, I don't eat it, I don't touch it, because I feel like, renouncing to this worldly life. No, that's not the zuhd. ولكن الزهادة في الدنيا ألا تكون بما في يدك أوثق منك بما في يد الله. So this is hadith أبي ذر مرفوع. What does it mean? ألا تكون بما في يدك أوثق منك بما في يد الله. The true zuhd, which is mean like to be near to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, do not trust more what you have in your hand. Do not trust what you have in your hand more than trusting what Allah has for you in the unseen. This is because this is the power of the iman. Someone can trust you, say, I have enough money to get to my destination. So he's trusting that money, he's relying on that money. That, subhanAllah, is impediment to the iman. Because alhamdulillah, I have money, but I'm trusting in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah has more, and Allah can give me more. Because the question is, what if you lose that money? So you see, trusting in something tangible, you feel that is in your hand. But in reality, not is in hand. So whatever you trust truly is what is in the hand of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you don't know what is in the hand of Allah. But your trust, what in the hand of Allah, should be greater than the trust what you have in your pocket. Like Juha, Juha? Huh? He's a person, they make a joke about him. So, when you say insha'Allah is like, what is insha'Allah, of course. Are you going to do this? He said, insha'Allah, I might. So, Juha was going in the street. So someone like in the shop, his owner of the shop, he said, hey Juha, where are you going? He said, I'm going to the market to buy a donkey. He said, say insha'Allah. He said, why should I say insha'Allah? The money is in my pocket and the market is full of donkeys. Logic, huh? So he went to the market. There's one, Ibn Halal, Ibn Halal, someone who's good. He stole his money. When he got the donkey, he got the money, he didn't find anything. The pouch, before they have pouch, they put in a coin, a gold coin, he's gone. So then he realized how important it is, insha'Allah. So when he was coming back, the owner of the shop, he told him, Juha, where's the donkey? He said, I was stolen, insha'Allah. Now he put it in the past, it does not work. So this is the trust. The trust, if you trust what you have in your pocket, subhanAllah, that's not part of the iman. You become like Juha. You say insha'Allah after when things are being, ruined and corrupted. In this hadith of Abi Dhar, telling us that one of the first aspects of the zuhd, which is of the iman. And this is higher level. أن تكون في ثواب المصيبة إذا أنت أصبت بها أرغب منك فيها لو أنها بقيت لك. Someone being struck by a disaster or a difficulty. This difficulty that a person going through, he knows that he has a tremendous reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's a dilemma here. Do you want this difficulty to be removed? Or you wish, and in the same time, you're going to lose the reward. Because when if it's this difficulty is removed, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala removed from you, you're going to lose that reward. As long as someone still going through this trial, he has that, subhanallah, reward. So the dilemma is, will you prefer the reward and resist and endure the trial, or you want the trial or the difficulty to be removed and neglect the reward? So the true Zahid, he'll prefer endure the trials because of the tremendous reward that he knows that he's getting. So the two elements here is associated to what? To your iman, to your faith in the unseen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one of the days that he called Yawm al-Qiyamah, Yawm al-Taghabun. Al-Taghabun is the day of regret, almost. How can be a regret when a believer comes and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was pleased with him? SubhanAllah, actually the regret for the believers more than the disbelievers. Because the disbeliever, they cannot do anything. However, the believers, when they see what Allah prepared for them, they wish that all their life was difficulties to get more of the bliss of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prepared for them. It's like there is a story, someone, dying, and he saw the angel that showed him a part of his reward in the Jannah. He said, how did I get that? He said, this is the sadaqah of he gave of those clothes. He said, I wish it wasn't new. Because he gave something sadaqah old. And Allah gave him tremendous rewards. He said, what if it wasn't new? Then the reward would be greater. And then they showed him another part of his great reward. He said, this is for what? He said, this is for the piece of bread that you gave. He said, I wish it was a complete piece of bread. So you see the regret. He comes in the day of judgment. You gave $1. When you see the reward of what dollar Allah gave you, said, I wish it was like $10. I wish it was $100. And if you had in the dunya, enough money, said, I wish it was $1 million. That's Yawm al-Taghabun, This is the Zuhud. So when someone is going, Ammar ibn Yasir, one of his dua, that he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he heard the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the reward that someone get when he's, suffering fever. Normal fever, like a cold. He asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to inflict on him fever that will not hold him back from jihad or salat or action of ibad. So some of the companions say, when we came close to Ammar, subhanAllah, he's always hot. So subhanAllah, asking Allah to be inflicted on them trial because of the reward. So you see, people, they live in the realm of the unseen more than they live in the realm of the seen or the physical world. So this is the Zuhud. The first hadith, قال, he given us also, go very quickly about the meaning of الورع. قال في التعريفات للمناوي الورع تجنب الشهوات خوف الوقوع في محرم. الورع is to trying to avoid all the desire or all these things that tempt you by fear to fall into the haram. وقيل ترك ما يريبك ونفي ما يعيبك. This is very profound. ترك ما يريبك, to avoid anything doubtful. That's the subhanallah, the wara, to avoid anything doubtful. وَنَفْيُ مَا يُعِيبُكَ, and to negate, anything that might cause you to be criticized. There's a lot of things halal you can do, but subhanallah, when people, they see you from a distance doing it, they might have, wrong idea about you. So someone avoid it. Like the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ when he was in Safiya in the dark, and he saw two companions, when they saw him, they cut the hasten their pace, avoiding to see the Prophet ﷺ. The Prophet called them, hey, where are you going? He said, this is my Safiya, my wife. He said, Ya Rasulullah, are we going to doubt you? He said, no, the shaitan runs in the son of Adam or the child of Adam like the bloods runs. So if the Prophet didn't talk to them, maybe the shaitan afterward he said, who was that woman with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? So this is قال وترك ما ونفي ما يعيبك. Anything you negate, it's like you just go and said what you have seen is not what you thought. So the brother said, no, I didn't think of that. No, just to let you know. That's subhanallah istibra' al-din, to keep always your honor and your back is always clean, from being criticized, and that's what we call istibra' al-din. قال for the wara there is a story. Maybe today the definition is good. The wara, Al-Imam Ahmed was passing by in the street and entered the market, and there's this old lady selling wool. She fixes wool, ghazl. And she has two prices. He looked at the one, the lower price is exactly the same as the other one. So he asked her, he said, these are the same. Why you are given this one is in the lower price? She said, they're not the same for me. This one full price, I worked on it during the day. And the other one, I was on the top, and I only have, worked on the light of the moon, full moon. And I was not sure that the quality is going to be the same. Therefore, I reduced the price. This is the wara. I reduced the price because I was not sure of the quality of the wool, of the one that I fixed in the night or worked on the night, like the one that I did in the day. So this is the wara. وَقِيلَ تَجَنُّبُ الشُّبُهَاتِ الْوَرَى, to avoid all the doubtful thing or the allegorical thing or the thing that you are not sure of. وَمُرَاقَبَةُ الْخَطَرَاتِ, and to be watching your thoughts. Because when you watch your thought, you avoid many false intention or you avoid many desires. Because what triggers the desires is the thoughts. So if you watch the thought and something comes to you and you ignore it, then subhanallah, you will reduce a lot of things into your nafs that you spare a lot of fight and struggle within your nafs. The first hadith, and I think we have 5 minutes bi'idhnillah, I think. عن النعمان ibn Bashir. This is, all of you know hadith, but this is very important hadith that he introduces the author into الزهد والورع. يقول سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. I have heard the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم saying, قال إن الحلال بين والحرام بين. Indeed, lawful halal is very clear and are evident, obvious. And the haram is also evident, clear and obvious. وَبَيْنَهُمَا أُمُورٌ مُشْتَبِهَاتٌ. But in between them, there are doubtful things. And this is what we're going to explain. What are these doubtful things? So the doubtful thing is where we're going to implement this aspect of wara. So there is extreme wara, and there's a moderate wara, which is the right one, the balanced one, and there's people who do not care. لا يعلمهن كثير من الناس. This doubtful thing, most of the people, they do not know. فمن اتقى الشبهات. So look, the Prophet ﷺ, he's instructing us, directing us. So he who saves himself from these doubtful things saves themselves or saves their religion and their honor. So فَمَنِ اتَّقَى الشُّبُهَاتِ اسْتَبْرَأَ لِدِينِهِ. So he keep his deen free, clear, clean. وَعِرْض, and his honor. So here the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever who shield himself from falling into this doubtful thing is the right thing to do. However, it is the doubtful thing for the person who is, facing this issue. The doubtful thing, it might be very clear for you. So the zone of the doubtful thing it wides, or subhanAllah, the more ignorance the person has, the bigger is the zone of this doubtful thing. The more knowledge you have, the smaller is this doubtful side. That's why here we need the fatwa. وَمَنْ وَقَعَ فِي الشُّبُهَاتِ وَقَعَ فِي الْحَرَامِ. Now the Prophet ﷺ warning us, and the one who indulges in doubtful thing, subhanAllah, he end up falling into the haram. So here there's very important aspect, because if you get into the doubtful thing, then you don't have wara. You don't have that subhanAllah abstinence. You don't have that mindfulness. Then someone is not caring really about, observing Allah's rights. So the action to not ask about these doubtful things, for example, you can see like someone, in the market, you ask about the meat, you ask about the thing. People are subhanAllah very careful in certain things. They want only to eat halal. Don't tell me these people are like, extreme. They're not extreme. This is what, subhanAllah, they want to observe the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the way they feel comfortable with this part of the wara. But need to be wara balanced, not only in one thing because of their culture. No, it's in everything that attached to the deen. So the Prophet ﷺ given us an example. قال كالرائي حول الحمى كالرائي حول الحمى. قال is like the shepherd who pastures his animal near the hima. What is the hima? Is private pasture, or like border that a king put only for the cattle that belonging to the government or things. So this is a private thing. So is no trespassing. So a person, he comes very close to that border, the shepherd. Why? Because it has nice pasture. Then subhanAllah, what is going to happen? He's going to end up, some of his animal is going to cross inside. Right? So this is exactly how someone gets into the shubuhat. So the Prophet ﷺ gives us this example. قال حول يوشك أن يقع فيه. Who pastures near the hima, private pasture of someone else, and at any moment he is liable to get in it. All people. So the Prophet ﷺ addressing to us. ألا وإن لكل ملك حمى. You should not be aware, every king has a hima, has this, private part, has this zone that is private, that no one should come to it. قال of someone else at any moment is like, be aware, every king has a hima, and the hima of Allah on the earth is what He declared unlawful. The hima of Allah is what He made haram for us. Beware, in the body there is a piece of flesh. So this is here the Prophet ﷺ, Zuhud Waraa, shubuhat, haram. How can you contain that? How can you manage that? He said, قال ألا وإن في الجسد مضغة. You should be aware that in the body there is a piece of flesh. If it goes sound, the whole body goes sound. وَإِذَا فَسَدَتْ, and if it's corrupt and the whole body gets spoiled, this piece of flesh is the heart. أَلَا وَهِيَ الْقَلْبِ. See how this hadith is beautiful, inshallah. We'll study it part by part, by what is the shubuhat, how can we shield ourselves, what mean to be al-hima, and how to have the wara, and ending inshallah ta'ala with the part of the heart bi'idhnillah ta'ala. Jazakumullah khairan wa barakallahu. If you have any question, you are welcome. However, the